Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Abby and I just wanted to start off and say thank you to all of you guys for the likes and the comments and all of the subscribers and just the people that have personally contacted me and shared their personal testimonies of how my videos have been helping them. And I just want to thank you guys so much. You are the reason why I'm doing this, and it really does encourage me to keep going, and I just want to thank you guys so much for doing that. You guys are amazing, and I hope you guys can continue on this journey with me. Before I get started, I want to apologize for the noise outside. There's somebody working on landscaping out there, so hopefully it'll be done soon. So a couple videos back, I talked all about the outer appearance and how taking care of yourself on the outside will help increase your self-esteem, your confidence, and just overall your life. It'll just help you and just feel better about yourself. I find that when I feel better about myself, I treat other people better. And so if you have not watched that video, I would definitely recommend going back. There's been so many people. Actually, this lady just came up to me the other day and she told me that she took the tip of changing the color of her outfits, and because she always wore black and dark colors, and she said that she finally wore some pink or purple, and she said she felt so feminine, and it made her feel so good about herself. So those little differences can make a huge difference in the long run. So yeah, definitely go watch that video. And while being a really beautiful woman on the outside, being a beautiful woman on the inside is even more important, because again, we've all known women that are just gorgeous. Maybe you know them on Instagram and you just think they're so beautiful, and then you see them in real life and they feel so awkward to be around because they don't have this warmth to them. They almost kind of have a very standoffish feel, and you can't be yourself. You forget how to breathe around them because they're so it's hard to be around them. And then we all know women that maybe aren't the most glamorous out there, but they're such a breath of fresh air to be around, and it feels like you're in a warm hug whenever you're around them, and your inner person can really come out and it shows. And so that's why we really want to be a well-rounded, beautiful woman on the outside, and then also be a beautiful woman on the inside. And so I was really struggling on how I was going to talk about the feminine energy in one video, because it is such a multifaceted energy that you can't just explain it real fast. So I decided that I'm going to be doing it in video clips instead, and just really diving into each category of what a feminine woman is. And today's topic, we are going to be talking about how to get out of your head, how to be an outwardly focused person. And what do I mean by this? So as you may or may not know, about a year ago, I moved from South Dakota to Colorado, and there was a lot of changes that happened, and a lot of things, everything is new. You have new friends, new church life, new everything. And so I definitely was trying to kind of figure out how I wanted to fit in here. And in the process of figuring out how I wanted to maybe portray myself here, or how I wanted to live my life here, I feel like I lost part of myself, and I hid a little bit. And maybe halfway through, I realized that I was hiding myself. And so I started to put myself out there. I started saying a joke here and there. Maybe the joke didn't go as well as I thought, or maybe the idea I presented wasn't taken as well as I thought it would. And so I really quickly started to get back into my head. And I remember sitting at the table, and instead of speaking, I would have a thought. I'm like, oh, I should say this. And then instead of saying it, I would be like, should I say it? Is that a good thought? Maybe that's rude. Maybe it's not like maybe that's not where they were going with this conversation. So I would suppress that thought. And then I would have another thought and be like, that's not good enough. Suppress until the whole gathering is done. And I said not one word to anybody. I took up space. I took up oxygen. That's all I did. And so what really sealed this thing for me, that I actually have to start working on it, was a couple weeks ago. We went out of town with my husband, and I had the moment where I was talking to people, and I went downstairs by myself. I was getting overwhelmed by being in my head, and I felt the Holy Spirit say, get out of your head. And that's where I got this phrase, get out of your head, because before this, that wasn't really a thing in my head. And when he said that, I said, okay, how? Like, I've been dealing with this for so long. How do I get out of my head? How do I do this? So the weekend just kind of went by. I was in my head, and I remember leaving, and I was like, that was such a waste. I could have enjoyed that time. I could have enjoyed those people. I could have been there fully, but I don't even remember half of the times, because I was sitting in my head and I had so much back and forth that I wasn't even able to ask good questions, because I'm typically a good conversationalist. I love asking questions. I love being there. But as soon as I get in my head, all that flies out the window. And the interesting thing, I think, is when you are in your head, your brain is working 10 times harder, using 10 times more energy than it needs to. And I found myself being exhausted. I woke up in the morning and I'm already exhausted. Instead of waking up in the morning being fresh and, you're rejuvenated, you wake up tired and exhausted. And it was because, later I found out, it was because I was so in my head and my brain was just working on times 10 when it didn't need to. And honestly, I was with the most simple people. I was with the most closest people to me, and I couldn't just enjoy the moment. So after that weekend, my husband and I were driving back. We had this whole really, really good conversation where I think I had a breakthrough on the meaning of get out of your head. Because before I would say get out of your head, but I didn't know how to do that. And these examples that I'm going to be giving today, you guys, this is literally just God has been just teaching me this last month. I know a lot of people struggle with this because I think this is just a way that the devil steals our joy, is by keeping us in our head. And in the Bible, it says he wants to give us life to the fullest, right? Life to the fullest. And when you are in your head, it's like living on autopilot almost in those moments. Like you look back and you don't remember what you said. You don't remember the moment at all because you were so just closed here, But what does get out of your head mean? What is that? How do you do that practically? What does it mean? Get out of your head is the ability to take the focus off of yourself and put that focus on other people. And that is the secret sauce, you guys. That is the absolute secret sauce, is to take the attention off of yourself, from yourself, and put that attention on other people. And it kind of goes with that whole cliche phrase that says, don't think less of yourself, don't put yourself down, but think of yourself less. And I never really understood what that meant until now. And now it's there's a light bulb on that. It's not that you are, talking down to yourself. It's just saying, right now, I'm not the most important in the room here. There's other people, there's other things that are going on, and let me put that attention on other people. And this has just been the absolute game changer, you guys. I have a friend, Allie, and she is just amazing at this. The reason I bring this up as being a feminine quality is because she comes into a room. We would sit in the worship room before worship would start. It's early in the morning, everyone's kind of just sitting there, nobody's talking. She'll come in and she brings this life to you, and everyone starts laughing, and everyone just loves being around Allie because she's not in her head. And I think the beautiful thing is that she doesn't think about herself. It shows. When a person is in their head, you can see it, and it almost just kind of okay, you just do your thing over there. And with her, you just want to be around her. And no joke, you guys, I'm one of those people who takes a second to open up to people, and I like to know you before I tell you anything. And within 5 minutes of knowing her, she got my life story out of me. And I'm like, how did you do that? And it's because you can be yourself around her, and it feels so open and so natural. And that's something that I want to embody as a feminine woman, is to be a woman who anybody can be around and they feel safe and they feel loved and they feel like their inner person is able to come out and it's able to be free and accepted the way it is. And that's kind of what we're going to be, walking towards as we talk about femininity. But guys, it's super easy to get in your head. If you're in a group of people, like I said before, it's so easy to just suppress and not say anything, and then end up literally having that whole time you didn't have one good conversation, you didn't compliment anybody, you didn't add value, you really just took air away. I think we need to be people that give life, that give value, that give something to the table instead of just kind of taking up space and taking up oxygen. And I know that with my personal problem, with my personality, I like to be perfect in a way. So I don't want anybody to see that I am flawed. And then also I like people to like me. I'm a very big people pleaser. But I know that there's some personalities that are more of a peacemaker. They like to keep the peace. They want to make sure everyone else is enjoying themselves. Is everyone good? And then they forget themselves to just let go and have fun. And that's another way of being in your head. So it's not all the same way, but it's the same tactic, I think, from the enemy, is just to keep you in your head so you don't enjoy the time, or you don't minister to anybody, or you don't pray for anybody or compliment anybody. And think about it, when you're in your head, you're usually sitting there like this, or you're have a face or something. And I feel like the Holy Spirit told me recently that if you have that very standoffish face, in the moment I tell you, hey, can you go minister to that person? How are you going to do that? Because first of all, they think that you're super standoffish and you're you've been kind of giving this attitude the whole night. And then second, you're going to feel so awkward because now you have to show the love of Jesus, and you haven't been showing the love of Jesus, if that makes sense. So this is just one of the other reasons why living in your head cannot let you live the life that God called you to live. But the biggest thing is to get out of your head. And I want to give you guys some practical tips on how to do that. How do you get out of your head? So with these practical tips, you guys, this is things that I've been personally learning. I've never heard these anywhere else. So when I get in my head, I stop and I think, okay, how did I get here, first of all, and what am I doing in order to stay in here, you know, in order to keep being in my head, you know? And so then I'd say, okay, let me try to counteract that with the opposite. And here's the things that I found out. Tip number 1 is, when you get ready in the morning, right, or maybe you get ready in the evening for like a night out, to go hang out with friends, that time in the mirror is your time to focus on yourself, focus on your hair, focus on your makeup, on your outfit, make sure you like it, make sure you look cute, you know, that's your time. But as soon as you leave the bathroom, as soon as you turn the light off, you leave the bathroom, your thought about yourself stays in that bathroom. What do I mean by that? You are walking out of that room and you are no longer thinking about yourself. You are no longer thinking about how you look, how your hair looks, like any of those things, right? You are thinking about other people. You are now thinking, okay, how can I benefit my husband right now? How can I be there for my kids? Eventually, when you get to that gathering, how can I, you know, start a conversation that's fun and lighthearted? Whatever it is, you just stop thinking about yourself. The moment you step out of the bathroom, the thought of you stays in there with the bathroom, okay? Because a lot of the times when I get myself ready and I look really cute, then I try to like upkeep it throughout the day and throughout the evening. And so the whole time I'm like this, looking at my phone, you know, like trying to make sure nothing's in my teeth. And it really does, that's something that keeps you in your head. And I get it, if you need to go to the bathroom because you think you have something in your teeth, go do that, because obviously you don't want to have something in your teeth. You want to feel beautiful, right? But don't sit there the whole time and just think about yourself. All those things about the outer appearance, like, again, leave it there with the bathroom. And I have found, you guys, that this makes the biggest difference for me. Once I stop caring, it really allows me just to be there for people and talk to people. And also, you guys, with that tip, I remember there was this jacket that I bought that was super cool, girl. It was like a moto jacket with like fur on the outside. It just looked super cool. And every time I wore it, no joke, you guys, my personality changed. And I know that there's things out there like that. It doesn't have to be an outfit. Maybe it could be like, maybe when you get into a certain car, or when you're with certain people, or whatever it is for you. But for me, it was this jacket. My personality changed, and it was very like cool. I'm too cool for everybody. I'm better than everybody. And I remember the Lord telling me, like, I don't like the person that you are when you're wearing this jacket. And I'm like, yeah, I don't either. I don't like the person I am, but I love this jacket. And so I was kind of wrestling with this, like, do I wear the jacket? Do I throw it away? Like, what do I do with this jacket? And I remember coming to the conclusion that if I'm gonna wear this jacket, I'm gonna have to work 10 times harder on getting out of my head and thinking of myself less. So it's either you wear the jacket and you have to try harder not to think about yourself and just forget about yourself, or just don't wear the jacket if you don't want to go through the effort. So I think to realize what those things are for you is really important, and then you can make that decision. Is it worth having this to feel this way and like kind of become a different person? That's between you and God, but that was something. I didn't end up taking away the jacket. I ended up changing my mind about it and saying, I'm not all that in a bag of chips, okay? Which again, I'm not saying to talk yourself down. I'm just saying to think of yourself less of the time. And if it's something that you wear, something that people you hang out with, or things that you do that make you feel a little bit elevated than everyone else, then maybe think about what you want to do with that. So tip number 2 is, before you step out of your car to go to that gathering or go to that social event or hang out with that girlfriend, I want you to stop. And this is something that I've been doing, and it's been the absolute game changer, you guys. I stop in my car and I say, this moment is not about you. This moment is, this life in general is not about you, but let's just say this moment. And think about ways that you can add value, right? So maybe you're gonna compliment someone, maybe you're gonna encourage someone, maybe you're gonna add that funny joke that maybe no one else will laugh at, but you think it's funny, and at least it's not stuck inside of you and keeping you in your head. You know, it's you being intentional before you get to that party, and saying, I'm just gonna be me, and I'm not gonna think about it. I'm just gonna enjoy this time. One thing that actually really breaks the ice is when you come in and you shake everyone's hand, either if it's a high five, fist bump, hug. For women, I like to hug. That way it's kind of saying, hey, we're friends. I'm here for you, girl. Like, I love you. And I think it just right away kind of breaks that ice. It's not a really like side hug, that's kind of awkward, but like a full on like hug, like, hey, I'm here. And I think that really helps. But just in general, let's say a handshake, right? You go up to every single person and you say hi. And the reason you do this is because when you walk into a room and you avoid a group of people, right away there's something in between you guys. Even for them, if they don't notice, for you mentally, it's like, oh, I didn't say hi to them. Oh, especially for me. I don't know if maybe you guys don't have this problem. problem, but I for sure do, where if I don't say hi to these people, I like avoid talking to them the rest of the night. And it really shouldn't be like that. It should be such an open thing that you can go talk to these people, you can go talk to these people. So I really encourage you to, every time you come into a gathering, shake everyone's hand, introduce yourself if you don't know them, reintroduce yourself if you're kind of new to them. Yeah, such a good tip. My dad actually taught me this one since I was a little girl, but I think more than ever, since I'm in such a new environment, meeting such new people all the time, it's really helpful to think of yourself less and hi, nice to meet you. And you meet every single person. Don't leave anybody out. Even if it's kids, you say hi to them. Go out of your way to say hi. All right, tip number 4, you guys. Again, this is so good. And I'm just saying this because this is all the stuff that God has been teaching me and the stuff that's actually been helping me. Like, I've been seeing results within the past month that I've never experienced in my entire life. So tip number 4 is put your phone away. Okay, for me, my phone in social gatherings is my defense mechanism. It's my wall that I put up, and if I'm not like engaged in conversation or I'm really in my head, I just take my phone. Okay, I'm good. At least I'm on my phone. At least I'm doing something that looks productive, right? And what I realized is that my phone, in a way, is like a pill. It's like having something there just so I can just drown the rest of the world out. Nothing's there. The problem is still there. I'm just numb to it, and it's not getting any better. And then realize like, wow, I wasted that whole time just being on my phone. And then also, when people see you on their phone, they're less likely to come up to you and interact with you because you kind of just seem standoffish. And I have a very first-hand experience with this. So we have dinner with neighbors on Tuesdays, and so usually I would come, I have my phone just in case I'm not talking to anybody, but I decided after the Holy Spirit kind of taught me these tips, I decided no more phone. My phone is in my purse. I'm not touching it. I'm not looking at it. It's not important right now. And I was sitting alone on the table because there was a group of people behind me and the whole table was taken. So I decided to sit down and just enjoy myself, and it's fine. Like, even if I'm here sitting alone, it's fine. I'm enjoying myself, whatever. And this girl came up to me and we ended up having a really good conversation, and her husband came, my husband came, and it ended up being the best time of the night. And I thought to myself, if I was on my phone, I don't think this would have happened because I'm so unapproachable when I'm on my phone looking down. So again, put away your phone if you have a tendency of being in your head. So I'm going to focus on other people. I'm going to focus on the conversation. Even if it's not my cup of tea, like, just be there. A really good point that my husband gave me when I was struggling with this whole concept of fitting in and being in a new group of people, I would sit there kind of like this and just listen and be there, but my face was not interested. It was kind of like I was somewhere else, again, in my head. And he told me that when you sit like that, you take away from the moment, because everyone's laughing, having a good time, and they look at you and you're sitting there like, you know, it kind of takes away from that moment. So he said it's worse when you're sitting there not saying anything versus if you say something stupid and like people just move on 10 seconds later, but at least you're in the conversation. And I was like, that is so true. Another thing that I've really been learning is to be simple. This is something, again, my dad taught me. When you walk into a place, right, after you shake hands with everybody, right, do something, this is what he said, do something on purpose that is stupid, or maybe trip, or say something, or whatever, something that makes the bar kind of like lower a little bit, and that way that pressure gets off of you. There's no standard to hold on anymore, so you're just like, okay, whatever I say, it's fine. And remember, if you say something stupid, that's like the worst thing that can happen. If you fall, if you trip, that's the worst that can happen. And then from there, you either can go on with it and laugh at yourself and just have fun, or you can take that the other way and be super like insecure and then ruin your whole night again by being in your head. So it can go both ways. Don't let it go on the head part. The last thing I want to say that has really been helping me as well is I'm a very competitive person, and again, I like to be on top. I like to be top G. And what has really been helping me to kind of get out of my head when I'm in a group of people and they're talking about their success stories, they're talking about their victories, they're talking about things that God has been teaching them, and my natural kind of state is to be like, well, I don't have that, or like, God has not been doing that in my life. And I just start getting super down about someone else's victory. Even on Instagram, I think we all have this problem. You see people do stuff and you're like, well, why do they get to hang out with all their friends? And why do they get to go on all these vacations and this house and this family and all this stuff? And what has really helped me, again, get out of my head and stop thinking about myself is to celebrate other people. And sometimes it doesn't happen right away. Celebration doesn't happen in the moment if you've been thinking about about it and you've been bitter about it for a little bit, it might take a little bit of time. But the way to start combating it is to start celebrating people and to start saying, wow, I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy for you that you get to do this and that God is doing this in your life. And remembering that just because God is blessing someone else doesn't mean that he's going to bless you any less. So again, celebrating can get you out of your head as well. And you guys, that is all the tips I have. And these are personal tips. These are things I'm still literally working through on a day-to-day basis. And I really hope that you guys take that one thing that maybe was spotted out to you. Maybe it annoyed you a little bit. Maybe it just kind of had like a little flash, little light bulb. Take that one thing, forget everything else, and start working on it today. Because I had this realization, and it's simple. I am living my life right now. Like, this is my life. And I can look back and say, wow, I was in my head that whole time. I wasn't enjoying it. I was just complaining. I was being negative and all those things, right? Or I can look and say, wow, those times were well spent. Like, I remember that memory. That was such a cool day. And those are usually the best days, when you just forget about yourself and you're just enjoying the moment. Alright guys, that's it for me on this video. I hope you learned something, and please make sure to like and subscribe and leave this emoji if you made it to the end of this episode. I would really appreciate it. Or let me know something that you've learned, something that you got inspired by. I would really love to hear it. I will see you guys in the next video. Love you all. Bye!